The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
720, 21 Pilots tickets coming up for you in a song scramble.
The Q101 Morning Crew. Sports.
Well, the White Sox started a series in Kansas City, and they chose poorly for that matchup. Boy, they lost 10-1 to the Royals yesterday.
Now, the Royals are a better team than they were last year. Bobby Witt Jr. is reminding me what it's like to have a top prospect that actually delivers on his promises, which the White Sox don't ever have. So that's a nice change of pace.
And that's the case as the White Sox fan here, by the way, not another Cubs fan dumping on the White Sox, which you get all the time on our social media.
Exactly.
As me being a Cubs fan. No, he represents the White Sox here on the show.
Yes, I watched the game last night. Middle of the game looked like White Sox were about to make a comeback, and then the Royals had the bases loaded, and a fielding error led to a gigantic inning for Kansas City. And then I questioned what I was doing with my life because I kept the game on after that.
Well, you could have eaten an English muffin.
Yeah, but who knew? I didn't even know they existed yesterday.
Speaking of eating, since we're talking Kansas City, I want to give a recommendation if you ever head there. Jack Stack Barbecue.
Yeah.
Last year, I went to the Monday Night Football game with the Chiefs and the Eagles because my wife's from Philadelphia. We went out. It was a great time. Arrowhead's unbelievable as a visit. They had the best burnt ends I've ever had in my life. Now, obviously, Kansas City barbecue is kind of like coming here to Chicago for different various things that they're famous for, like our pizza or our Italian beefs or hot dogs or whatever, and they're famous for their barbecue. And each place has its own famous things, and I've never had burnt ends like that before.
Can I give a Kansas City barbecue recommendation?
Sure, you might as well get your girls from Kansas City.
Exactly, my girl's from Kansas City, and if you're going to Kansas City, I would recommend going to Sneed's Barbecue in Belton, Missouri.
Okay.
They have the best brisket I've ever had.
Well, that's great.
I know.
See, we're trying to help out our listeners when you get out. You know, it's about a 7-hour drive to Kansas City. I drove an hour flight.
That stretch through Iowa is unforgiving.
Well, I went through Missouri, and that was worse.
Oh, really?
Missouri has nothing.
Yeah,
I
it
mean, I
sucks.
was actually worried we were going to run out of gas and not see a gas station.
Just see a tumbleweed go
Yeah,
by.
literally. It's amazing how much of the country has nothing.
I know.
Be
We're-
thankful today.
We're blessed to be here.
You can go around right to the corner. There's a 7-Eleven right here.
I got McDonald's coming in 10 minutes. This city's amazing.
Last night, the NIT finale, I wish I'd followed this guy more. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as they call him. Robert Avila. He's actually from Oak Forest High School. He plays for Indiana State, 6'10", awesome. They've called him like Larry Nerd because he has the great goggles. He's 6'10". The guy's amazing. Averaged 25.5 points per game, by the way, at Oak Forest High School. And he had a great game, but they couldn't do it. Seton Hall scored the last 9 points. They were winning. I thought it was over. And then Seton Hall won the NIT finale. A lot of people said the Indiana State, because of him, should have been in the NCAAs. But they lost the game there.
Yeah, they
the
should have been
finals.
the big boy tournament.
Should have been in there. The women's Final Four is tonight. NC State, South Carolina at 6. Then Caitlin Clark's last, well, not the last, Final Four. She's probably going to win and go on one more final game. Iowa, UConn at 8:30. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed the women's basketball tournament. I've loved it a lot of times better than the men's. It's so good. Angel Reese now going to the WNBA too, so they're gone. Big mistake, ladies. Stay in college. They're making $3 million. Caitlin Clark made $3 million in college. She's making more than any male college basketball player with the NIL deals right now.
Yeah, but she also still has to go to European history. I don't blame her for wanting to leave college.
She's not going to European history class.
She has to take classes.
There's no way she's going to class, and I'm for it. Don't go, girl. Do not. You're fine. She's leaving anyway at this point.
Exactly. She's gonna go to Indiana. The Indiana Fever have the first pick in the WNBA draft. They'll take Caitlin Clark. She'll be a local. It'll be great to see.
Well, 3 hours away is not local.
Well,
I can't get to a game in Indianapolis.
you can't get to a game at Wrigley Field.
It's
You live
hard
5
enough.
minutes away.
God, it's brutal. I live right there, and I didn't get to a game yet. Okay, so the men's final is Saturday, the Final Four, I should say. You've got Purdue, 5 o'clock against NC State. That's going to be an awesome matchup.
That's awesome.
And then at right around 8, you'll have UConn and Alabama. Reminder, the bar we did the broadcast from, the home opener on Monday, Almost Home, is an Alabama bar. So if you're a fan, you want to go there because the place is awesome. Also, WrestleMania, Saturday and Sunday night, 6 o'clock it should start, I should say, on Peacock. WrestleMania 40.
That's right.
I can't remember what number I went to.
You went to 24. It was Orlando. I hate that I know that. God.
Oh, I'm so happy you know that.
I hate that I know that.
I just know it was 2008.
It was 2008. Floyd Mayweather versus Big Show, Edge versus Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair.
Keep going.
It's a good show.
Yeah, John Legend did America the Beautiful to open it up.
I don't remember that one. that wasn't my WrestleMania memory. Was John Legend.
Oh, that was mine. It was great. Oh, it was awesome to be at it. It's in Philadelphia. Our guy here, Kevin Kellum, he's there.
He's loving it.
He's going to have some posts up on our social media all weekend, looking for our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So check it out.
I'd love to know, because I'm a wrestling fan, but I'm very open about it. I don't watch WWE. I'm probably not going to watch WrestleMania. I don't care about it. If anything, I watch a lot of AEW. But the tides have shifted in the last few years. A few years ago we talked about this, and AEW is what everybody was watching. I'd love to know, for the people that watch wrestling, what they prefer at this point.
Yeah, because it is interesting. I mean, The Rock is going to wrestle Saturday night,
That's
I
right.
believe. So The Rock is back. That's my era, more of the Attitude Era, when I was really living in the wrestling. And I don't anymore, and I know our listeners do, and maybe I'm missing out.
You got a child. You can't get back into wrestling now.
Well, she goes to bed around 7, so I could watch WrestleMania then.
You could, or you could watch it with her. She would probably love it.
She's got to learn sometime. Why is the Blackhawks game going to be the most fun game ever tomorrow? And you can watch it on TV. Reminder, it's that animated game, the Stars and the Blackhawks, 2:30. If you have NBC Sports Channel Plus, which I discovered, I have YouTube TV. Case told me I do have it. It's just right next to the regular NBC Sports Channel.
That's correct.
Didn't know I had Plus right there.
Yep.
So watch it. They're going to animate the game live in real time. That is incredible.
Well, they need to do it because they're playing the Dallas Stars, who are one of the best teams in hockey, so it would be ugly if it wasn't animated.
I'll watch the animated one. I'm going to Plus. Finally, Case, the producer, going to Wrigley Field today. So Shohei Ohtani, his first visit ever to Wrigley Field. Can you believe that?
Oh, he never played here even with the Angels?
Even with the Angels, he never played at Wrigley. He's played the Cubs before, but never played at Wrigley.
Interesting.
First time ever. It's going to be decent weather, 40 and kind of sunny, 40s, I should say. In case the producer's going, it's 120 game. Can't wait. Cubs are on fire. Start off the season great. Case is going alone.
There's nothing wrong with that.
This is another thing. The last hour has been a lot of revealing stuff of Case the producer
And
about
I'm sorry.
English muffins, toasting things, not liking crunchy bread.
By the way, my Uber driver's going to be here in 1 minute.
Okay. Before we do the 21 Pilots tickets at 7:20, he's going to eat an English muffin.
If you're just joining us, that must sound insane.
Also, never thought that's what Friday's show was going to be. I had this big plan of a lot of stuff, and that's where we're at. However, when Case told me he's going alone to Wrigley Field today for the Cubs game, it just reminded me of that scene in Forgetting Sarah Marshall when he walks up and has dinner alone.
It's not nice. I didn't get divorced. My girlfriend is working today.
Yeah.
And you can't go.
It's Jonah Hill as the waiter.
And Jason Segel as the lonely guy.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'd like to grab some dinner, please.
Okay, great. Is your wife gonna meet you?
No.
Great, your girlfriend?
No, I don't have a girlfriend.
You just by yourself?
Yeah.
Sucks. Okay, so just one. All right, here's your wine list, your menu. Come on. Do you want like a magazine or something? It's gonna be boring if you're just sitting by yourself.
I'll be all right, thanks.
I just would be so depressed.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Very exciting to stick around here because a couple important events are happening. First, 21 Pilots tickets at the United Center. We have another song scramble ready for you. You unscramble the 3 songs and tell me in order what those songs are, and you are going to the United Center to see 21 Pilots from Brian and Kenzie on Q101. That's at 7:20, just a few minutes away. Stay right here. Also, Case, the producer, has just walked back in the studio with his McDonald's order. It came even faster than they said it would. And it is McMuffins, because he's never had an English muffin. I found this out at 6:35 today. I was stunned when we're doing a fact that makes your brain go. We talked about bread. If you toast bread, it is healthier for you. You can go back to the podcast and listen why. Now, he's got this McMuffin out here, but here's what we're going to do. I want you to get it prepared properly, open it up, have a nice drink nearby, any kind of condiments, maybe you want a little salt and pepper or ketchup even, I don't know, Case.
I don't know. How do people eat McMuffins? I don't know.
It's
my first time. Show me the ropes.
I add a little salt. I don't do ketchup on them. I've seen people put ketchup on them.
Okay.
Or hot sauce. I've seen that too.
I can't handle that.
We need to add how does the English muffin look? Does it look? It's not nothing soggy. It looks all good. It looks like very well prepared.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it looks like a Frisbee, but go ahead. Yeah.
That's what an English muffin is.
Okay, sure.
With mountains on it.
Yeah.
Ridges. When you open it up, there's ridges.
Yeah. it
Not
smells
ridges,
good.
but mountains.
A butter?
Caverns.
Okay, yes, it's an English muffin. I know that.
When we come back, Case tastes his first English muffin of his life at 25 years old.
I'm so glad everybody can be here to join me for this. Historic day on Q101.
Oh, and the 21 Pilots tickets, yeah.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
All right, here we go. 21 Pilots tickets for the United Center on Tuesday, October 1st. Partnering with our great friends Live Nation. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. The tickets go on sale, by the way, today at 10 a.m. So this is your free and first into the party. If you can tell me what 3 songs are these. It's a world-famous Brian song scramble. Tell me the 3 songs in order that are in there. Aaron checking in from Glen Ellen. Aaron, what is up?
Hi.
All right. Okay, can you do it for the tickets? Go ahead.
Yes. Shy Away, Heavy Dirty Soul, and Tearing My Heart.
Let's see if you're right.
Don't you shy away. Can you say my every dirty soul? She's a tearing my heart.
Congratulations. You are going to the show.
Woo!
Now, listen, I got to ask again. All week long, we've had somebody that's listened to, or seen live, I should say, 21 Pilots 75 times, and someone that's going for the first time. How many times have you seen 21 Pilots?
I've been once. I went to their show at the House of Blues in 2021.
So that was the Q101 takeover where they did Bottom Lounge, House of Blues, Aragon, and the United Center, which was an incredible run here in Chicago that week with Q101 and 21 Pilots. They came in the radio station. It was outstanding. So glad you saw that show. That show, that's the one I wanted to get to, and I couldn't get to that night. I got to the United Center night. But, God, so happy for you that you're going to see them in the big stage. They're the best band performing live in our generation. And congratulations, Aaron. You got it.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
When that song hits, we wear headphones in here, and I can still feel the power of hearing that the first time. And today, April 5th, is the 30th anniversary of losing Kurt Cobain. And that's, a lot for a lot of people when you hear that. First off, if you're a little bit older, like me, remembering being alive during that time, it was an incredible, pivotal event that people know where they were when they heard that news. Or if you were, very young in that situation, you remember the impact of what the music had. Maybe you didn't fully understand Kurt dying. For example, my wife, Megan, they're probably about 10 years old at that time, and she told me the story recently when we talked about this coming up, how her friend, who's now a grown adult, married, kids, a member of society, doing a nice job, she carved Kurt's name in her leg with a knife on the day when she found out that he died. Wow. She still has that scar on her leg. Don't do that, by the way.
No, that's wow.
It's a terrible thing to do, but the level of intensity of what he meant to people, that someone like Case that wasn't born when that happened 30 years ago, but the impact of Nirvana for you is prevalent, obviously. But 30 years, he'd be 57 years old today. It's just something that needs to be marked, especially by this radio station that was very new at that time. Of course, I wasn't here, and Case wasn't here, and Kenzie wasn't here at that time. But 30 years ago, Q101 started, and right at that time, you're a couple of years in. For a guy that was really only huge for about 3 years, about three full years of being huge. Now, the band existed a little bit longer than that, but for sure, 3 years of existence, and it's been 30 since he's been gone.
I mean, I don't know if this radio station exists without him. With all due respect to REM, one of my favorite bands of all time, I'm not sure alternative radio takes off the way it does just because of Losing My Religion or Orange Crush or whatever. It took a cataclysmic event like Smells Like Teen Spirit to set off, what's now an entire industry. And, you said it yourself there. I wasn't alive when Kurt was alive, which is weird to think about. But Nirvana changed my life. I mean, I owe a lot of just living to Nirvana because I went through different schools growing up, and I've talked about how I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. And when I heard Nirvana for the first time, there's something abstract in the way that Kurt wrote lyrics. It's not straightforward for the most part. You don't always know what he was talking about. And at that time in my life, I couldn't express my own emotions in a very clear way or explain to others what I was feeling. And so something about Nirvana brought a lot of comfort and solace to me. And I always say once a year it's important. Like, everybody that listens to the station knows you hear In Bloom every day. You hear Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's just part of who we are. Once a year I sit down and I listen to Nirvana in like a real clear crystal way. And I remind myself like, oh yeah, these guys are the best.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason they're so good, but it's just, I don't want to say it's wallpaper to us, but we hear it so much, it's easy to forget just how amazing these songs are sometimes.
Well, I can put it in perspective a little bit because being alive 30 years ago when Smells Like Teen Spirit finally hit. Now, again, they had some songs out before then, but nothing like that. And me being a young little metalhead, hair metal guy at the time, and when just like there's a documentary out there, I got to find the audio. I think it's like Tommy Lee or someone says, when they just heard the first chord, they went, uh-oh. Instantly, Rat and Motley Crue and Poison, instantly in a way. Now, listen, I'm not saying those bands are bad because I still love a lot of the music of those bands. But they instantly said, and they will say this today, it's over. It's over. The tides are turning. Something has changed because of that. Just hearing that of Smells Like Teen Spirit. And that's, oh my God. And I'm telling you, that's that's the truth. And that's powerful. And that's what happened. And then, of course, it led to Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, and the whole grunge movement from 90 to 94 and beyond, actually, in the mid-90s. And then you get bands like Sublime. And then you get, of course, moving in the later times of the 90s of, new metal with, like, let's say, Limp Bizkit and Kid Rock and all that, and Creed and grunge 2.0. But it all started with that the whole 90s decade started with
So Kurt Cobain is responsible for us having Kid Rock?
Hell yeah.
Wow, man, that's tough. That's tough to hear.
I don't want to make the Venn diagram on that and kind of say how we got there. I'm just saying.
I think it's more of a flow chart.
and this is the time for you guys to chime in, too, at 312-591-8300. And I'm not saying everybody, again, was around at that time, but an artist that changed everything for you, and maybe they're still around, or maybe you lost them. Like for me, being a guitar player, it was Eddie Van Halen just 3.5 years ago when we lost him, and I certainly still feel that. But at that time, for Kurt, I really wanted to resist Nirvana. That sounds weird. I wanted to resist liking it,
well, it wasn't your world at the time.
And also, everybody was talking about it, and I was kind of that anti-popularity thing. Like,
boy, do I understand that.
And I couldn't resist it. I could not. I fell into Nevermind and then discovered even more of the older stuff at that point, too. And I wanted to resist it, but I couldn't. It took me over.
It's crazy. Stephanie just checked in from Barrington on the text line, and she said, I was listening to Q101 driving home from school when the station broke the news in Chicago that Kurt Cobain had passed away. It's amazing to think we have this through line of all of Nirvana's history into Q101 and to now.
Can I tell you that I was at the dentist when I found out?
Really?
And with the stuff in my mouth and everything, because the hygienist came in that was a younger woman, probably in her 20s or something like that. And she said to the dentist who was looking in my mouth, Kurt Cobain, he's dead. And I went,
and what did you do?
I went like, oh. And I wanted to talk to somebody about it right then, and I couldn't talk. And the damn dentist didn't get it. He was going to REO Speedwagon that night. And I wanted to talk to the hygienist because she got it.
Yeah, she got it.
But he's in there going like, that was mine. You know where you were? You have that feeling, that moment in life when something this sad happened. It's really tragic that we couldn't get him. He'd be 57 years old today.
Did you ever see them live?
I didn't. I had a chance to go, got a ticket. First off, my dad wouldn't let me go to shows because he said everybody gets stabbed at shows.
That's right.
He wasn't wrong in a lot of ways, but yeah, I never saw him. Never saw him live. I'd love to say I did.
Oh my God, just with the time machine. Because 219 checked in and they saw Nirvana at the Aragon in 1993.
Oh.
So that's post Nevermind, that's post In Utero. And those Aragon shows are really famous because one, the last Nirvana song, You Know You're Right, it's the only time they ever played that live.
Right.
Was in Chicago at the Aragon. And then also, Rolling Stone did a cover story on them where they interviewed them in Chicago, and all Kurt did was talk about how bad the Chicago shows were, not because of the crowd, but because he felt like he was off.
Yeah.
But if you go to YouTube and listen to the audio of it, it's incredible. It's remarkable.
Unbelievable.
It's the greatest thing you've ever heard.
Also, if you want to check in at 312-591-8300, what Nirvana song do you want to hear? Just played in Bloom. We'll play one more. Get in there if you want to hear one that just in honor of Kurt and your memories and your feelings. And like I said, Case being 25 years old, the band still affected him throughout his whole life without him being around during their time of popularity.
For sure.
Wild.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Coming up, we'll get the piece of garbage madness. We do have Bonnaroo tickets coming up in Clash with Kenzie at about 8:10, so be with us there. We're talking about Kurt Cobain today, the 30th anniversary of losing Kurt Cobain. And, it's very emotional for a lot of people, and like myself, but I was alive when it happened. And some people, like Case, the producer here, was 25 years old, missed all the era of their popularity, but still had the impact of Nirvana and Kurt Cobain and what he did. And also, most of the bands you listen to today.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
The newer bands. Any of the newer bands out there, they will cite, lots of people say like, oh, the Beatles inspired me to write songs, and Nirvana, took over. There's a blues player named Gary Clark Jr. who people think he's all influenced by blues players, and he says, I listen to Nevermind, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That's what he says. I listen to Nevermind. But then then of course the blues attracted him in that way of playing guitar that way. But it affects different people, different kinds of music. For example, Chrissy checked in and we're talking about people you lose, and he said like for her it was like Kurt Cobain, Chester Bennington, Aaliyah, Selena, Tupac, and Biggie.
Amen.
I mean, that's a
Pour one
list.
out.
That's a
Yeah.
list.
Those are the heavy hitters.
Those are heavy hitters.
That's the all-star team of Gone Too Soon.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like I said, I'm not trying to be gloomy in the whole thing, but 30 years is just incredible to think that span had happened, and that what Q101 did during that time, starting kind of in that era of 30 years ago, a little over 30 years ago with Nirvana, and then here we are now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. He's been gone 30 years. When you think about the span of Nirvana, their first album comes out in 89, Nevermind comes out in 91, and Utero comes out in 93. Kurt, unfortunately, passes away in 1994. It's a very short run in the history of the world. It's a very short run in music, even. But the songs stand up. I mean, there's nothing like a good Nirvana song, and that's why 30 years later, we feel the need to honor Kurt.
We asked which one you wanted to hear, but before I get there, Case is posting on a blog on our social media about Nirvana. If you want to just, maybe you're like, well, what is all the hubbub? Maybe you're new to it and you want to remember some things, or you're like, someone that experienced it, but you forget moments. Also, I'll post a video. I got to find it. 7 years ago, I went to Seattle and I went to his house.
Kurt's house.
Kurt's house where it happened. And it's a very rich neighborhood now. And I kind of just went over there by myself. I got a rental car. I was at a wedding out there, and I just I'm going to go drive. It was far from where I was. Got there. First off, there's this park next door that looks like it hasn't changed since 1994.
Cool.
There's people walking around on, hallucinogenics and graffiti on the benches. It looks like 1994 right next to his house.
That's crazy.
Then there's a big fence around it because the people that own it now don't want people coming in there like me. But I was in Seattle. What am I going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
So I
snuck
snuck
to Starbucks?
I snuck around the back and kind of started very lightly singing "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and then I got chased out of there.
You were singing?
I was very more like, I'll put the video up. You can
Was
be
it
the
like
judge.
a Gregorian chant?
I can sing.
Oh, I don't think you can.
Well,
I don't think you know the lyrics to Smells Like Teen Spirit. You're bad with lyrics.
I am bad, but I got them right, I think. You know what? Go to the video. I don't have the audio ready to go. I'll go to the video when I post it on our Facebook page, at Q101's Facebook page, and Instagram and Twitter. I'll put it up there too. Because I almost got arrested. Another time I almost got arrested.
Wow. A lot of almost getting arrested for a guy with no street cred. This one time I almost did something crazy.
The smart criminals get out of getting arrested. But you dance that line of getting arrested. That's me.
Sure, okay.
Listen, we asked you what song you want to hear, and it's funny because people probably think it's some obscure Nirvana song. Nope. You want to hear the one that changed it all, as I was talking about when you heard those chords? That changed everything. It's Nirvana in honor of Kurt Cobain's 30th anniversary of losing our great friend. It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.